Your surname, please?
I'm not giving my name.
You're going to refuse to give details now, are you?
Well, unless you threaten me with some sort of arrest.
I'm a police officer, sir.
Yeah.
I don't threaten anyone.
Oh, right, okay.
I don't threaten.
So you're not going to threaten me with arrest if I don't give you...
Certainly not a threaten.
Okay.
A police officer suggests they can take someone into custody, simply to identify them, not for a confirmed offence but based on possibility. That immediately raises a legal issue. In UK law, detention powers are not optional. They require clear, lawful grounds. So when an officer makes a claim like this, the question isn't compliance, it's legality. As this situation unfolds, we're going to examine whether this is a lawful use of power or pressure without a legal foundation. Footage courtesy of Pure Audits. Full credit in the description. Go check out their channel.
Oh, while we're waiting, are the police coming? Yeah. While we're waiting, can I use your toilet?
Are you having a laugh? No.
What? Really? No?
What's your name, sorry?
I didn't give my name.
What's your name?
I don't need to give you my name, do I?
Well, at the moment, we've been called, and as a police officer, I'm asking for your details.
Why? Doing my lawful activity and from a public area, but I didn't want to go ahead and start doing more when he's called you. I thought I'd wait.
What's your name, sorry?
I didn't give my name.
What's your name?
I don't need to give you my name, do I?
Well,
the interaction begins with a simple request. The officer asks for the individual's name, but no legal reason is given. In the UK, there is no general duty to identify yourself unless a specific power applies. At this stage, that power hasn't been established.
I'm listening and understanding your point in saying that you've obviously come off the property.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if you know anything about Concordia, but having had a chat to the manager here, it's quite a secure building. All right.
Yeah.
You're not allowed on there. That's come from him.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's politely asked you to move on and obviously stop recording because of the nature of the supplies and the goods within the site.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know what the company is because I got it off the internet.
There we go. So in this situation, the best thing we can do is just ask you to move on. All right. Not record. Obviously from here, they're asking you not to do it. Right. At the moment, he's saying that in the building and the business itself, they do obviously supply quite high secure goods across the world on flights.
Yeah.
And at the moment, it's just not appropriate. And obviously, that's where we are with it. Okay.
The officer explains that the business is high security and has asked the individual to stop filming and move on. But this introduces a key issue. A private company's concerns do not automatically create legal authority, especially when the activity is taking place in a public area.
Refuse to do that and allow for this business to move on with their day, we could be looking at other things then, couldn't we? Because what's happening here is this company now have had to send out managers and staff to obviously come and deal with yourself, and they're just kindly asking you, can you please stop filming?
Yeah, but I'm doing photography in a public place. I'm allowed.
What they're saying is,
I'm allowed.
You by all means,
I'm allowed.
go the other side of the road.
Yeah.
Obviously,
that's what I said I was going to do. I said I'm going to be over there.
Yeah.
Over there on that footpath.
You've asked to use their toilet. You're not allowed to do that.
No, I'm not going to.
You've asked to go in and have a tour. You're not allowed to do it, okay? There are rules in life that you have to follow.
No,
right?
I said to him,
for you to ask where the toilet is, if I can use the toilet, can I come in and have a tour? It's a no, all right?
No, I know he said no. That's no problem. We're not going to
get into a
debate
and stuff.
I just asked him, I said, look, any chance I can use your toilet?
Here, the individual clearly states they are filming from a public place. That matters. UK law generally permits photography in public, provided there's no specific restriction in place. So unless a legal boundary is crossed, this activity remains lawful.
Allow for the drone
He doesn't own the airspace, officer.
But the problem is that as the manager, he's being quite respectful and polite to you, isn't he? And he's just saying, please sir, can you not do this, all right? Obviously, he knows a lot more than me and you about this company, all right? And he's saying that in the building itself, it's obviously quite a high secure place where they provide goods and materials to put on flights to travel, right?
I'm allowed to photograph in a public area.
I'm not saying you're not allowed to photograph.
I'm allowed.
Go over there then.
That's what I said I'd do.
Make yourself sparse. Obviously, take photos and stuff.
Yeah.
But please don't go putting a drone up. We've got our headquarters there. That's our police headquarters. I don't know if you're aware of that.
No.
Right. That's our police headquarters there for Gwent Police.
But I'm not doing Gwent Police.
So,
I'm doing.
But obviously, as you can see, there's only a matter of meters between these buildings. Okay. So Concordia, they are obviously quite a high secure building. We've got our premises there as well.
The discussion shifts to drone use, and the officer appears uncertain. Instead of confirming a restriction, the response becomes cautious and indirect. This creates a gap. Authority is still being asserted, but without clearly defined legal backing.
And I will do them, but I was here, and what you're telling me is that because he don't like it,
I can't film. It's not a case of him not liking it. He's the manager, isn't he? And what he's saying is that because of the nature of the materials and the goods that are inside of this building.
But it's not unlawful to do photography from a public place.
It's again with that company. The company are asking you not to do it.
Yeah, I'm allowed though.
Let's not be awkward.
No.
Let's not make things difficult because otherwise they're going to end up difficult. Okay.
Why?
Well, because of obviously the sort of attitude that you're giving.
I'm not. All I'm doing is exercising my rights to film in a public area.
But like I've just said, the company are saying to you, you're not allowed to do it. Please don't do it because our business has things in there that we don't want publicised across the internet and stuff.
The thing
do you
is,
understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
Now the focus shifts from law to respect. The officer emphasizes the company's wishes rather than legal limits, but respect is not enforceable in law. Police powers must be grounded in legislation, not preference. This distinction is where the situation starts to weaken.
Guys, but I am allowed to put a drone up, and you're saying, well, be respectful to them and don't put one up. But I'm allowed, and it's my right. It's my right to put a drone up in a public area. You know, it is. If you tell me, if you tell me if you're going to arrest me if I do it, then what I'll do, I won't do it, but I'll go to my lawyer because I'm allowed and I know my rights and the rights are that you're allowed. The law says that you're allowed to take photography, including drone footage, in a public place.
Okay, what's your surname, please?
What?
What's your surname, please?
I'm not giving my name.
You're going to refuse to give details now, are you?
Well, unless you threaten me with some sort of arrest.
The individual makes a key point. They're willing to comply if a lawful arrest is clearly stated. This is important. It shows a distinction between refusing authority and requesting lawful justification. And that places the responsibility back on the officer to define their powers.
Police officer, sir, I don't threaten anyone.
Oh, right, okay.
I don't threaten.
So you're not going to threaten me with arrest if I don't give
certainly not a threaten.
Okay.
I can use laws and powers, but it's certainly not a threat.
But I've not done nothing wrong. I've got
ultimately what's happened here is that the police have been called.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm now having to deal with you as a person. Therefore, I'm asking for your name and date of birth.
Why?
Because you've been involved in a call that I'm actually dealing with.
Yeah, but I don't have to give it. What? I mean, I don't understand why.
So then, if you're not going to give details, then I would strongly advise for you to just move on. Because at the moment, you've got 3 units here that are obviously dealing with you. I don't know who you are.
Yeah, I know,
right?
but
I
I'm
need
just
to know who you are.
No, I'm a member of the public.
Yes, I appreciate that.
And I'm doing a lawful act. I'm doing photography and droning.
So why are you not, at the moment, you could be missing. You could even be wanted, right?
Yeah.
And ultimately, as a police officer, we have the right to take you to custody to identify who you are if you do refuse to give details.
The officer escalates, suggesting the individual could be wanted or missing. But this is hypothetical, not evidence-based. Under PACE, detention requires reasonable suspicion of an offence. Speculation alone does not meet that threshold. So the legal position remains unsupported.
No, but
you've been involved in something that the police have been called for. So as a police officer, I'm requesting your name and your date of birth.
Yeah, but under what section? I don't understand. Under what section are you asking for my name and date of birth? Because I'm legally, and I don't want to go into civil law, into unlawful arrest and unlawful detention here. But if we go down that path, you know, we don't want to. I don't want to go unlawful detention, unlawful arrest, unlawful giving of my details, because that all goes.
It's not an unlawful giving of details by any stretch.
Okay, well, if you felt that I've committed a crime, then you know, or there's a section under pace.
I just feel,
and I know pace very, very well. If you want to try and, you know, determine my name and address, I'd like to know.
I think you're just being extremely difficult and challenging, and I'm probably quite awkward at the moment.
I'm not. I'm exercising my rights.
It's just
As the legal argument continues, the tone begins to change. The individual is described as awkward and difficult. This is a shift away from law toward compliance pressure. When legal authority becomes unclear, interactions often move into persuasion instead.
In a public road.
Right, you're up against the barrier.
Well, I'll happily go over there or over there and do my drone.
Go over there then.
I'll go over there and I'll take my photography from over. I'm not causing any trouble, officer. I just wanted to do what I...
Yeah, no, it's like I said, I just find like when you're refusing to give something as simple as a name to a police officer, obviously it comes across quite awkward, and that's probably my personal opinion of it, okay? And it's just sometimes it can make it a lot more difficult than it needs to be. On this occasion, obviously I've asked you to come from the building line, which you have. Photographs, they're like, that's fine, take a photograph, no problem. They've asked you not to put a drone up, all right? That's come from the business manager. I can only advise for you not to do that.
Okay.
At this stage, the officer softens their position. Instructions become suggestions. Enforcement becomes guidance. This shift is significant. It suggests that the earlier assertions of authority may not have been strong enough to sustain formal action.
You know, you're not threatening or anything like that, but unfortunately it can sometimes come across like that when a person is refusing to leave, obviously, you know, making things a little bit difficult, okay? So yeah, just please don't go doing anything silly. Please don't enter the building. Please don't enter past our barrier. All right, this pathway here, the pavement there, obviously that's public access, fine. But anything through the barrier, that's obviously their property, okay? And they can then again ask for you to leave.
To be honest, if they come out again and cause me hassle, I'll just move on, because I don't want no trouble.
I'd probably advise for you to move on, but obviously you don't want to do that, do you?
Well, I'm just going to do a little bit
By
of
the end of this interaction, the situation has clearly changed. What began as a firm attempt to control the individual's actions, including requests for identification and suggestions of custody, has reduced to informal guidance and advice. And that transition is not accidental. Throughout the encounter, no clear legal power was firmly established. No specific legislation was cited to require identification. No lawful basis was demonstrated to prevent filming from a public place. Under UK law, these thresholds matter. Section 50 of the Police Reform Act allows officers to request details only in cases involving antisocial behaviour. PACE allows detention, but only where there is reasonable suspicion of a specific offence. Neither appears to apply here. Instead, what we see is a gradual shift from authority to uncertainty. Initial confidence gives way to caution. Firm language becomes advisory, and enforcement quietly disappears. This highlights a broader issue. Authority, when not grounded in law, cannot sustain itself under scrutiny. And in situations like this, it is not confrontation that changes the outcome, it is clarity. Because once the law is brought into focus, only lawful power remains.